What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Paul from GH Spoilers. It is a stormy Thursday here in New York, but the real lightning is striking in Port Charles. Today we are unpacking Carly absolutely cornering Nina Dante's heart-to-heart with Rocco, and Britt's shocking exit plan. Let's dive straight into this absolute madness, because I am losing my mind. Okay, I literally cannot believe this. Can we please process this mess together? Because I am sitting here in the dark, the clock just struck 3 a.m. My eyes are practically bleeding from staring at these screeners, and I just had to hit record. I am running on 0 sleep, 3 energy drinks, and pure, unfiltered psychic damage, courtesy of General Hospital. Might delete this later, but I seriously can't stay silent about this anymore. This grueling, decade-long journey has finally pushed me over the edge, and we are ditching the script today. There are absolute legends carrying this entire franchise on their backs, right now. And then there are characters who are single-handedly testing my sanity, dragging my last remaining nerve cells through the mud. Please tell me I'm not the only one losing my mind over this. Listen, we have to start with the absolute masterclass in psychological warfare happening in Carly's orbit. Basically, Carly is backing Nina Reeves into a corner so tight that Nina is practically fusing with the drywall. Suddenly, Carly forces a conversation that Nina would rather walk barefoot over broken glass than have. We are talking about Jack Brennan's completely inexplicable stroke. Carly looks Nina dead in the eyes and brings up the fact that Brennan just happened to drop, paralyzed on the floor only a few months after Drew Kane suffered a stroke in the exact same house. Honestly, the sheer audacity of this geographic coincidence is sending me into orbit. Nina Reeves is the woman who called the SEC on Carly and Drew, and now she thinks she can outsmart Carly Spencer in her own territory. It is laughable. There has to be a common cause. Don't you think Carly asks, giving Nina this lethal, suspicious glare that could melt steel? Look, Carly is playing cat and mouse, and she is thoroughly enjoying being the cat. What Nina fundamentally doesn't realize in her panicked, spiraling little brain is that Carly already knows. Carly has that secret alliance with Valentin Cassadine, and Valentin already slipped through the shadows and spilled the tea that Nina was the one who jabbed Brennan with Drew's medication. Nina is standing there, sweating bullets, playing dumb, trying to construct a lie out of thin air about Brennan just being tense. But Carly is just watching her squirm. Honestly, it is a total game changer. Carly suspects there is even more to the story, and she is making it her personal mission to uncover every single dark, twisted layer of this cover-up. I am low-key obsessed with Detective Carly. She is a major flex right now. Wait, why are we like this? Why do we let this show hurt us? Because suddenly, we pivot to Dante Falconeri and Rocco, and my heart is just shattered into a million tiny, jagged pieces. Look, Dante is finally pushing Rocco for the truth, and the emotional weight of this scene is just crushing. Dante sits his son down and confesses that he knows the absolute truth. He knows Rocco is the one who shot Ross Cullum on the pier. He knows about the slide burn on Rocco's hand that Elizabeth found. Honestly, you can see the exact moment the air leaves Rocco's lungs. Dante wishes his son had just been honest with him from the jump, but here is where the nuance hits. Dante's actually being a good dad here. He knows that Nathan West, who we all know is actually the absolute menace. Cassius and Spencer were actively pressuring Rocco to keep his mouth shut. Lulu told him to lie to his father. Basically, Dante isn't holding Rocco's silence against him, because he knows the adults in Rocco's life completely failed him. Jason falsely confessed to protect the kid. Lulu lied. Cassius manipulated the situation. But Dante needs answers, so he puts Rocco right on the spot about Britt Westbourne. He wants to know what Britt is hiding and how she ties into Cullum's reign of terror over this town. Rocco. Sweet, traumatized Rocco actually steps up and defends her. He assures Dante that Cullum is the true villain of this story, the monster pulling the strings, and that Britt is just completely hopelessly in over her head trying to survive. The generational trauma in this family is a total game changer. Dante looking at his son, seeing the loss of innocence. Honestly, I am just sitting here weeping for Dante trying to piece his broken family back together. Speaking of Britt being in over her head, let's talk about the absolute depression session happening in the room above Bobby's. Listen, Britt and Lucas Jones are having drinks, and the vibe is just overwhelmingly bleak. Britt is staring into her glass, completely defeated, and she drops the ultimate bombshell. She thinks it would be best for everyone if she just disappeared. She is a total flight risk right now. Basically, the walls are closing in with the Cullum threat and Jen Sidwell's terrifying presence in Port Charles. And Britt just wants to pull the ripcord, change her name, and vanish into the European underground. But Lucas is not having it. He looks at her, his eyes full of that fierce loyalty, and admits he would deeply miss her if she did that actively, pushing her to stick around. Look, Lucas is being a good friend, But he also has a massive, undeniable ulterior motive here. Britt is literally the best, most strategic ally Lucas has right now against Cullum and Sidwell. Plus, and this is the part that absolutely destroys my soul, if Britt walks away and goes on the run. She has to walk away from her chance at getting more of her experimental medication. She would basically be surrendering to her Huntington's disease, accepting a literal death sentence just to escape a mob war. Lucas refuses to let her give up on her life. He is tethering her to reality. Honestly, the stakes in this tiny, dimly lit room above Bobby's are higher than the entire WSB storyline combined. It's raw. It's visceral. And it is a major flex for these actors. Whoa, I've really gone off chasing butterflies into another dimension here, spiraling about existential dread. Bringing the signal back, let's stick to the script. We need to talk about the absolute slimeball that Michael Corinthos is becoming. Look, I cannot even begin to process the sheer level of manipulation happening in Michael's office. Suddenly, Willow Kane shows up unannounced and Michael goes into full-blown panic mode. Why? Because he is sitting there with a fresh stack of glossy photos delivered by Elaine, the private investigator he hired to stalk his own ex-wife. Basically, Michael is trying to fast-talk and frantically conceal these photos of Chase and Willow having their little run-in at the park. He is actively laying a cheating trap for them, hoping to push them into an affair so he can gain the ultimate leverage in the custody battle. Honestly, it is so deeply toxic. He is fully embracing his inner Corinthos mob boss, using blackmail and psychological manipulation to destroy Willow's life. Wait, maybe Michael is right to secure his custody. After all, Willow did sleep with his uncle Drew. No, absolutely not. I am contradicting myself because I am just so overwhelmed by how despicable he is acting. Look, Willow is already dealing with unimaginable stress. Jen Sidwell just summoned her and threatened her life over the Drew Kane paralysis situation, telling her that if Drew ever communicates again, she is dead. And now, on top of that lethal burden, she has Michael setting a honey trap for her with Chase. The woman cannot catch a break. She is walking a tightrope over a volcano, and basically, I am just screaming at my monitor for her to run away from all these toxic men. And then, right in the middle of all this high-stakes life-or-death drama, we get this completely jarring pivot to Trina Robinson and Brooklyn Quartermaine. Listen, Trina approaches Brooklyn and she has demands. She tells Brooklyn that she wants to do something, but on one very specific condition. Basically, this is all about the big showcase that Brooklyn has been setting up. Trina wants to be involved, but she wants Gio Palmieri to accompany her. Honestly, I am low-key obsessed with Trina taking charge of her life and her social calendar. After everything she has been through, if she wants Gio at this showcase, Brooklyn better make it happen. It's a total game changer for Trina's vibe stepping back into the spotlight and demanding what she wants. But of course, Brooklyn is currently drowning in her own secret guilt over the Isaiah Gannon hit and run, so who knows if she can even focus on a musical showcase right now. Suddenly, we hear shouting, and it is none other than Tracy Quartermaine absolutely blowing her top. But wait, for once she isn't screaming at Brooklyn. Look, Tracy is directing her lethal, legendary Quartermaine fury squarely at Mayor Laura Collins. Why? Because Laura has apparently caved to all of Jen Sidwell's ridiculous helipad demands. Honestly, Tracy is the only person in this town with any sense left. Sidwell is a dangerous, ruthless international criminal, and Laura is out here approving zoning permits for his private chopper. Basically, Tracy marches in and demands that Laura explain herself. And I am entirely on Tracy's side here. Laura is the mayor. She should be protecting Port Charles, not handing over the skyline to a modern-day villain so he can fly over the Metro Court whenever he pleases. It is a major flex for Tracy to hold the mayor accountable. I am living for this boomer-on-boomer warfare. Finally, let's talk about the Metro Court Gardens, where the vibe is surprisingly wholesome. Wait, why are we like this? I am so used to Sonny Corinthos threatening people with meat hooks that when he actually acts like a rational human being, I don't know how to process it. Look, Sonny is having a sit-down with ADA Justine Turner, and he is actually thanking her. Yes, you heard me correctly. Sonny Corinthos is expressing sincere gratitude to an assistant district attorney. Basically, Justine was the one who pointed out that people